Sports.
Ooh, that was good.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, we're getting there. Yeah, welcome to another episode of Stuff About Sports. Today, we are going to talk about Roger Goodell's response to the NFL players standing up to them. We're going to talk the latest on Drew Brees, Colin Kaepernick, President Trump versus the NFL round 2. We're going to do some hockey talk as hockey is going to take over MLB's spot, and Corey's going to explain why hockey is going to leapfrog MLB in the hierarchy of sports in America. And then, of course, what you guys have all came here for, we are going to do our White Excellence draft presented by the Give Us a Shot Network. Today, we got Mike, we got Corey. Yeah, we are presented by us. We're doing this together. We got Mike, we got Corey, and we got Ty. Gentlemen, good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
All right. You guys excited for the draft? I know I am.
Yeah,
I can't wait. I cannot wait.
Oh, it's going to be great. It's going to be great, guys. Jump in the comments, share. Thank you. Before we get started, if you want to head over to the network, we got what happened?
We're already thanking people for a White Excellence draft.
Like, yeah. The white, no, for real. People have been. I don't know about you guys. People want to know. Like, they want to see what this is about. They want to. They're peaked. The interest is peaked, which is exactly the point. So, if you want to know what that's about, you'll find out next. But first, the warm up. Are you guys ready?
Ready.
Ready.
All right, guys. It's happening. Dana White stepping up. Mike, are you excited? July 11th, Fight Island is real. 14 days straight up. All the titles will be up for grabs. Are you excited for Fight Island? And if you had the chance to go, would you go?
I wouldn't go, but I'm excited to watch it, hear about it, and experience it from afar. I'm not a huge UFC fan, but if this is the one thing that came out of COVID for sports, I'm all for it. It sounds awesome. It sounds like if they could do this annually, it could be like their WrestleMania, right? So it sounds awesome. I'm glad he was.
It's in Abu Dhabi, by the way. I forgot to mention that. It's in Abu Dhabi. It starts July 11th and runs all the 14 days after that. So whatever 14 days after that is, I'm not good at math, but apparently, it's without the bureaucratic interference from ESPN and Disney, which is what stopped it from happening here in America. Dana White is taking this on the road. Corey, what do you think about Fight Island?
I think it's going to be a huge moneymaker for him, man. I mean, Dana White, he's not the smartest person in the world, but he knows where the money is, and that's all that matters. I mean, dude, he found a way to do it, and he did it. He may have stole the name Fight Island from somebody, or really didn't market it the best. Like, dude, that's the best you can come up with is Fight Island, but whatever. It's easy, it's simple, and it's going to sell, so more power to him.
Ty.
I'm a huge UFC fan. I mean, I'm not going to say huge in turn. I don't know all the stars and all the fighters, but I love watching it. So, man, this got me hype. I want to see more fights anyway, any shape and form. And you're going to be on an island and now you have a tropical feel, and there might be some I don't even know what else they're going to do. But you're saying 14 days? Is that what it is?
Yeah, it's running 14 days. I don't know if there's going to be fights. I think the span of it is 14 days. I don't think they're going to fight every day. I think maybe they'll fight, every couple days, but the whole event is 14 days long.
Like I said, I'm angry right now, so I need to see more fights.
More aggression.
Yes. Yeah, I checked out. I don't know about you guys. I checked out the last UFC event, and Amanda Nunes is easily the greatest women UFC fighter to ever live. She's a monster. She's quickly made me forget about Ronda Rousey and Holly Holm. She's just the best. We know the stars that are probably not going to be participating. It sounds like Dana White, as Corey said, is not the smartest guy. He likes to be a bully. He likes to bully the media. He likes to bully anybody he can get his hands on. And it seems like it's actually going to cost him something with Jorge Masvidal, Conor McGregor suddenly retiring for the third time, and John Bone Jones giving up his title and seemingly refusing to fight over money. Does anybody have an opinion on that?
Personally, I just think Dana has the market right now, or he feels that he does, so he's not willing to pay. I think he's a little nervous on the back end, too. I mean, he doesn't know how he's going to come out of this, and he doesn't want to kind of shoot his load too early, for lack of a more intelligent expression. But
Mhm.
I just think that he's looking at all them like, you guys aren't doing anything else right now. This is what I'm offering. Take it or leave it. So.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, for sure. Go ahead, Mike. Sorry.
ironically, we talked about on this podcast a lot about Vince McMahon having a monopoly. My man's got a monopoly, like, right? So he
Yeah.
doesn't have to pay. Conor McGregor made more in a boxing ring than he has in a UFC ring, and that boxing match wouldn't have killed them, right? Some of these UFC
Yeah.
matches, dude could end up dead, or at least dead earlier than he should be. So,
But
uh,
isn't there something though to your stars making your brand? Like we're not talking about regular fighters. We're talking about people who have mainstream appeal. So like we all know with anything, the stars get longer leashes, and if they feel like they're not getting paid what they're worth. So like for example, Dana White has gotten into a beef with Dan Lebitard of ESPN, and he offered to fight him at Fight Island, and for $250,000 going to whatever charity that they decide. Now,
so
my direct inclination was that would be awesome, to have that versus the media. Dan Lebitard ain't no punk. He's one of my favorite guys in sports media. But for me, I said, well, if you have $250,000 to do for that, why can't you just give that to Jorge Masvidal or John Jones or Conor McGregor? Like that. It's that type of stuff that's like, what are you doing? Like your stars need you, and you need them. I don't care what you say. Like I get people are going to watch it, but those are the type of guys you need. So, speaking of Conor McGregor, he did say he's retiring for the third time. Says he doesn't find the passion for fighting. Um, I'll start with Mike. Are you buying that he's going to stay retired?
no, I think this allows him to go in and out of the sport and actually negotiate what he wants in his terms of fighting. So, I think he does struggle with that. I like anybody does. I mean, look, you're putting your life on the line every single time, and like I said, yeah, he knows he's bigger than the sport. So, uh, Dana White's got to be careful. He can end up like boxing. I know Ty's watching it now, but for a lot of us, you know, unless it's a guy like that, I'm not tuning in. So,
Corey?
Yeah, I mean, look, he's creating a demand, and he's already kind of had that. But by him going into retirement, it was like the same thing when Jay Z said he was going to retire. He put out this album, and then we just wanted more and more and more. And I mean, even if you remember the Black Album, which is supposed to be Jay's last album, that tour was just millions upon millions. They could charge whatever, they can do whatever. So I'm kind of with Mike to where, he is being able to go back and forth as he pleases. He already has money. Mayweather tweeting at him, telling him just say the word, come out of retirement, he'll box him again for a second or third time. So he's in no way done. He's just trying to kind of raise that market value.
Yeah, no, that's exactly what I believe as well. It's all marketing. He's taking a break. If you're going to take a break, might as well say you're retired. So when you come back, now it's a thing, and you're worth even more money. He's obviously not done fighting. They were just talking about him and Silva, like that would have been huge. And I don't know why you're doing a Fight Island. I don't know how he's not going to be involved in that. It's kind of silly, but yeah, he's obviously not done.
Yeah, that's now, especially with Fight Island actually getting off the ground. Now is not the time to have your biggest stars, most recognizable stars, sitting out, especially if you plan on making this like a real thing. So the NBA is also gearing up to return July 31st, as we all know. But something we didn't know is that the NBA is actually going to probably use crowd noises from NBA 2K to simulate crowd noise during the games. I'm not clear if it's going to be on the broadcast or if it's the actual players are going to hear it to kind of get that crowd noise feel. I'll leave this as an open forum. Just this is stupid, right?
Yes. Well,
where
yes
does
no.
2K get the crowd noise from? Doesn't 2K get the crowd noise from actual crowds?
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, isn't it?
I think hopefully they just do it during the broadcast, because if it's them in the stadium doing it for like if I'm the guy working the board and the visiting team is missing buckets, I'm hitting that crowd noise every time, having people cheer. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I'm thinking they're doing it just for the broadcast. I think it was like it's got to be close to 20 or 30 years ago now. The NFL did I think it was a Monday Night Football game with no announcers, no nothing. They just had to listen to the crowd, and people hated it. People need both the announcing and some sort of reaction from the crowd. So I'm thinking they're just trying to blend the two, at least for the viewers at home.
Yeah, it's essentially like a laugh track, right? When TV show.
Yeah.
But it's weird it's weird if you see the empty stadium and then hear a crowd like that would throw me off.
Yeah,
They just need some sex dolls, man.
It's like 2.5 men, like sex dolls. Yeah, shout out to the guy who knew what the sex dolls were. But yeah, it's like 2.5 men. Like you're watching it and you're knowing what you're watching is not funny, and yet you hear the crowd noise laughing. And it's like, wait a minute, am I supposed to laugh too because it's supposed to be funny? When in actuality, it's not even funny. Same with Big Bang Theory. Shout out to all the Big Bang Theory fans out there. The show is not good.
Garbage,
man.
Guys, it happened. Stone Cold Steve Austin, the Texas Rattlesnake, King Redneck, put up a middle finger to all you Confederate flag junkies. And he said, that's a bunch of shit. If you represent the Confederate flag, you're a loser, and that's the bottom line. Everybody praise Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Yeah, there's nothing else to say, really. There's nothing else to say.
Oh, that's great.
Cheers.
Actually, let me turn the logo.
Cheers.
Yeah. Yeah. I get the people who do celebrate the Confederate flag because the Confederates lost and losers generally gravitate to loser shit. Speaking of the Confederate flag, Bubba Wallace, one of the black NASCAR drivers, wants the Confederate flag banned at NASCAR. The Marines, as you guys know, just banned any showing of the Confederate flag on base. This is a good thing. I think we can all agree to that. But this should be done everywhere, right? Like in every sport, in every facet, right? In America, on American soil.
They burn they burn all Nazi memorabilia. When the Nazis they came in, they burned the Nazi flags. There's no Nazi statues hanging around just to honor somebody. Like they've got tore down and burned down and knocked down and just forgotten about. Not forgotten about. You don't forget the history, but we don't need the flags proudly flown when it means a whole different story to us. It's literally a symbol of hate.
The fact that they were even manufactured, sorry, Mike, not to cut you off, but the fact that they've even been manufactured still is kind of, a little offensive. But I mean, look, it should happen at least in all sports across the board. There's no reason why.
That's Mike.
That's me.
There's no reason why it shouldn't be. There's no reason why it should be in any sports. It shouldn't be in NASCAR. It's just not a good image. And I think now is the best time with everything going on that all major sports can just be like, yeah, no, we're not dealing with it, and then pull it.
This is a time for the red. I'm going to say the racial slurs, the Washington racial slurs. This is a time. Like I'm about to start saying the same thing for that. Like we're about to start pushing that agenda. It's time to change that fucking name, man. Like, how are you guys still operating underneath the Washington racial slurs? Not okay.
Yeah, the Washington team is definitely flying under the radar. It would be an awesome PR move to do that. They have time. Obviously, it can't change for this NFL season, but they can absolutely announce that next season it won't be. Well, I guess I don't know. I don't know what the rules are.
But they, not to cut you off, but they can at least announce it, even if it's
like whenever they're allowed,
now,
right?
Or 4 years,
Right.
Whenever their deal is up with Nike, Reebok, whoever, just announce it. This is what we're going to do. Get people ready for it,
Yeah, absolutely. Go ahead, Mike.
I want to say three things on the subject. Like, you had the best post. It was like a white flag. That should be the Confederate flag, right? Because they lost. Second off, it should have been cut off in the beginning because there's treason. Abe Lincoln died. LBJ, not Johnson, not LBJ. Jesus, JFK.
Yeah.
But
you said
Johnson,
LBJ. You said LBJ.
Yeah. But Johnson takes over, and the fact is, he should have. He didn't because he was a Southerner from Tennessee. So he allowed this remnants to stay, and now it's been a stain on our country for how long? So we got to get rid of that. When Germany was taken over by the United States, Dwight Eisenhower took over Germany, and he made sure every remnants of the Nazi Party was removed. And so, ironically, we didn't clean up our own country, but we were able to clean up the Nazis.
Well,
And yeah,
I agree with you, but I when it comes to the Confederate flag, like right out of the gate against the Civil War, like I don't I could be wrong, and I'm not trying to offend, but like when the Nazis came through, they had the concentration camps, and they were trying to eliminate Jewish people and minorities and anybody with mental challenges. When the Confederates, like when they lost, the South didn't want to realize that they lost, so they adopted that. And a lot of the racism that was still down there, they used that as that symbol. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like it was almost like that adopted.
Well, they didn't really. That's the thing. They kind of like conceded. They kind of were like, "Oh, we lost. Like we stopped." But they weren't really. They were like kind of surrendering, but not really surrendering. Like they still were part of the Confederate, part of the Confederacy, and that's shown today. Like we've seen it trickle down. But
2 things, and then I'll get off my history thing until later. One, the Nazi Party existed before Hitler was named, their leader of the party. So it was a political party. 2, the Nazi symbol is actually an Egyptian symbol, and it's actually the sign of peace. One could argue, which I did in my history class, that the Confederate flag is worse, and there's no symbolism behind it. And you could actually argue that the Nazi flag had a symbolic meaning behind it, but both should be abolished. Both should not exist. Nobody should ever see it. Nobody should be allowed to have a tattoo of it. It should be a sign of treason, and you should be gone. Like that's it. And I know it's harsh or whatever, and we're the land of the free. Not all really free. Like stop.
Clearly, we're all not free.
Yeah, Ty's got to go through hoops just to get a freaking little pistol, right?
Yeah, it's insane. Listen, you
I can't
even
go to the gym right now. I'm on lockdown. I'm not free.
Yeah.
I heard you bring the gym to you though. You got like a whole gym team.
Desperate times call for desperate measures, my man.
I hope you're charging membership.
A couple of the guys from the gym were all talking about renting a storage unit and buying equipment and just kind of working out of the storage unit. But with the NASCAR thing, absolutely it should be removed. I know NASCAR is like the last hope for that Confederate crowd there. Like that's where they all congregate down there in NASCAR land, and it's about to be over for that. You got Dale Jr., Kyle Busch, a bunch of these NASCAR stars actually released a video about fighting racism and all that stuff, similar to what the NFL players did. And all you can ask for is that people who aren't they don't live in a world where things have to be equal, right? They drive cars and 99% of their fan base is white and they all believe in the same thing. They don't have to deal with much racial what's the word I'm looking for? Diversity. And they don't have to deal with that. So I can understand them not really paying attention as closely as maybe you think they would. But the fact that they've all got together, and these are like NASCAR's biggest stars, saying that they're at least willing to listen, to me, that's literally all you could ask for. So they even, I think during the last event, they stopped the cars during pace laps, as a sign of kneeling, right? As a solidarity thing, which is actually pretty dope.
Shout out to NASCAR, man. That's dope.
Yeah, shout out to NASCAR.
You never would have thought. You never would have thought.
That is your racist uncle coming up to bat right there, in a good time.
Yeah, one of those Lifetime movies where you the racist uncle, and then you think about at the end of the movie.
The only thing that could happen to NASCAR is they lose viewers. You know what I mean? It's not like we're going to start watching NASCAR.
But you know what though? They could.
I feel like I want to though. I feel like I owe them a view now.
And you're not going to.
But honestly, I honestly think the opposite. I would think this would gain viewers. You know what I mean? Imagine
we're paying attention to it. Yeah, you're right.
People weren't watching golf. Black people especially weren't watching golf until Tiger Woods goes, and now I know a bunch of black people that are super into golf. Even though there's not many minority golfers, they're still into it hardcore. So, I'm not saying that can happen to NASCAR, but it could happen to NASCAR. You never.
I think it will. I'm gonna be an optimist, and I think it will.
Yeah, NASCAR's big down here. We have one of the raceways, one of the big raceways here in Charlottesville, and and then there's one in South Carolina too. So I see a lot of NASCAR going around. A lot of people are really into it. I might actually go to one just to see what it's like.
It probably is cool in person.
Yeah. I love hockey in person. I can't watch it on TV, but I love going. I love going to a hockey game. It's awesome. Derek Jeter says if he moved out of New York, he would have moved out of New York City if the Yankees lost to the Mets in the 2000 World Series. That's blasphemous, right? That's blasphemous. Does that statement alone put Alex Rodriguez above Derek Jeter as the greatest Yankee of all time?
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not.
In our network,
I'm not even going to give an explanation for that. Absolutely not. First of all, it's easy to say shit like that when you've been out of the game for how many years, and the 2000 were 20 years ago. You know what I mean? Like, he wasn't going anywhere. There's no other team he could have went to that would have been able to compete with the New York Yankees back in the 90s and 2000s. So if he lost that World Series, he was not going anywhere.
Well, how many more did you win after that? Just like one.
Shut up, Mike. Let me have my
no, I got you. Here's what I would say is he clearly – maybe that's what fueled him to win some of those games, because the Mets had a lead, and then in the ninth, you guys beat us. So the series only went to a game 5 out of 7. But to be honest with you, it could have a ball one way or the other, a clutch hit that doesn't happen, and that series could have won 7 games, and Queens could have taken it, but it didn't happen. It's sad times, but sucks what could have happened, because honestly, too, if Jeter's not in the Bronx, maybe A-Rod doesn't go there. Maybe he takes his talents to Queens, and maybe that Zoom call meant a little bit more than it did to me than you. Maybe he'd be like, I like your shirt, Mike.
He goes to Queens instead.
Yeah.
Man,
because his boy's not there to.
No, there's no way Jeter would have left though if they lost. That's bullshit. That's complete bullshit.
Such a lie. Yeah,
he was going nowhere.
Yeah, he was trying to get attention. A-Rod has won COVID. He's getting everybody's attention.
He came on. Listen, A-Rod came on our podcast.
Came out of baseball. He came out of baseball hell and got up to the top. He's number one baseball analyst. People love him now. Married to J-Lo. I mean, he's like, you forget that he grossly cheated the game for years. So last one, guys. Australian supercar prodigy Renee Gracie quit her profession after 14 years in the sport, making virtually no money. And you guessed it, guys. She made an OnlyFans page, and she now makes a whopping $90,000 a month. Will you quit a month? I double and triple checked.
I'm retiring to everything right now.
I contributed to that.
Are you making an OnlyFans? Contributed. I did check for research purposes. Are you quitting your profession to start an OnlyFans if you knew you could make $90K?
Of course.
Right? That's an answer, right? That's like dead yes, right?
And
nobody's saying no.
What is she giving them? What is
what do you think, Mike? What do you think?
All of it?
I don't think she's giving out cooking lessons. I don't think she's giving out cooking lessons on OnlyFans. All right, you use your imagination.
Hold on, though. But to be honest, the average person, we don't have the following to make that kind of money. You know what I mean? She had all those fans, I guess, because she's been driving for the last 14 years. So it's like if Danica Patrick were to do that, because I don't know who this chick is, and I don't know. But
this is all Australian stuff. Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. If Danica Patrick were to do something like that, you know what I mean? Or Lindsey Vaughn or something like that. Yeah, you're making much more than $90,000 a month.
Well, they said Gilbert Gottfried does videos and people pay him $100 a video, and he makes $200,000 a month. And that guy, the last time he had a job, I don't know. It's just videos hey, happy birthday from Gilbert Gottfried.
Wow, that's because he's got one of those voices. He's just he's that not that I wouldn't even say B-list. He's that C-list celebrity that you can get to and pay $100 for something like that. You know,
he got fired from being the Affleck guy.
Did he really?
He said something racist. He said something
He
crazy.
did. He said something racist, or Well,
Yeah.
I'll look it up. I'll let
And
you
they're
guys
looking
know.
they're looking for like a new Affleck duck, and then they like
What nationality is he? I feel like he's got to be mixed, right? Gilbert Gottfried. He's not white, is he?
He's definitely
he's
Jewish, at least.
I thought he's Italian. I have no idea. Oh, yeah, he probably is Jewish,
Wow.
but that's not really.
I don't know, but he's not making
That's just religion.
he's not making my my white all time starting five. I know that much for Gilbert Gottfried.
No Gilbert.
All right, guys, that was the warm up. Yeah, if you want to know, if you want to make $90K a month like Gracie Renee or Renee Gracie, she charges $12.95. So Mike, if you want to go find out exactly what she's giving up over there,
It's $12.95.
Yeah, a month.
She's giving
And you
it to
can-
everybody.
Yeah,
What did Pac say? I don't want it if it's that easy. Or
listen,
Gotta
hey,
tease
if,
me.
if it's $90K, I want it no matter how
Oh.
easy it is. Hey, I'll take it. All right, guys.
He made. Do you want to know what he did, Gilbert?
No, I don't care about Guilford Gottfried, Mike. Did you find out what ethnicity he is?
I'll find that out. I thought you didn't care about him. No,
He's got to be like Lebanese or something like. You know what I mean? He's got to be
Lebanese.
He's not on OnlyFans, so
he made earthquake and tsunami jokes about Japanese people.
I'm guessing this happened right after a earthquake and or tsunami.
Yeah,
So that'll probably
What an idiot.
probably do it. Yeah, that's dumb. You can't do that. That's really stupid. Like, what was that one guy who made a joke?
Drew Brees.
Right after,
Yeah, I know. What an idiot.
Yeah, what an idiot. The comedian who made a joke right after like a day after Kobe Bryant died, and he had a show in New York, and all the New York gangbangers were like, they went to the venue and called the venue and was like, "Yo, this guy's supposed to perform here tonight, and we're letting you know that we're shooting it up.
We're letting you know that he's not performing there tonight.
Yeah, he's not. Yeah, basically.
No way.
Yeah.
I didn't hear about that, but obviously Kobe clearly is like the most beloved man right now in the world. You're
in case you guys, if for anybody keeping score at home, the world has become complete shit since Kobe died. So he was the glue that was holding all of us together.
100%. I agree with that 100%. I can't remember this comedian's name, but you can look it up. It's easy. He got
that's not. Yeah,
club got
we should forget his name.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what happened to him after that. All right, that was the warm up, guys. Are you guys ready to talk a little NFL? Speaking of Drew Brees and the NFL, NFL's players, the black NFL players, made a video. From what I read and researched, some executives from the NFL headquarters kind of did this behind the owners and Roger Goodell's back. Then they released this, at the risk of their jobs. And the NFL acted quickly. Roger Goodell released a statement, a video of his own. Apparently, the talk is that he did that because league MVP, or not MVP, Super Bowl champion Patrick Mahomes was part of this video. And that's what really prompted Roger Goodell's response. I want to know from you guys, what do you think is going to come of this on the NFL side? And do you buy what the NFL is selling?
So I think you saw it. Where's that music coming from? Is that you, Mike?
No, that's my wife. Yeah, sorry.
Here's what I think. I think this is what you saw from the NFL. They made their little apology, and that's it. Okay. You had said, and here's where I kind of disagree with you, is you had said that they risked their jobs. They didn't risk their jobs. When they put that video out and didn't tell anybody, there's no way any action was going to be taken right away for no one approving it. But just watch some slick shit happen. Take note of who was a part of that video a year down the road. If people get moved out of their position because someone was still salty about something like that, that's when it would really happen. With this whole press thing going on, with the whole movement, with the limelight being, the magnifying glass being there, I think it was the right thing to do. I think it was the push that the players needed to do. Obviously, you got an apology out of it, not a direct apology to Kaepernick, but I think that's all you're going to see from the NFL. I don't think there's going to be anything else more to it, and that's going to be that. They acknowledged they were wrong. They said they're with their movement, but you're not going to see them get their hands let their hands go deeper in anything else.
It's going to get deeper because we're not letting up. I'm so glad that the players did that, because if they would have tried to go around the tape and ask people, it would never happened. It would have took forever to get done. They said, "Nah, we're gonna just put it out there." People are finally realizing that they have more power than they thought they had. Like, you guys could easily mess things up. They realize it too. Like, man, if all these players just were to just be like, fuck you, like, I'm not playing, they'd be screwed. It's like, I don't think it would be the same thing as baseball. Like, replacements would come in. Nah, you're talking about Mahomes. You're talking about the biggest players in the league. No, people aren't watching. So people are listening, and people are angry. And Brees obviously didn't help with the situation. So it's like, we're asking for a lot now. Like, you have to even go another step forward. There's going to be kneeling on a field. I can pretty much guarantee that. Because
he will 100%.
That's what I'm saying. So that's a change in itself, because last year that wasn't happening. You got to kneel in the back. Like, you better kneel in the back of the stadium.
You got to stay in the locker room,
right?
Exactly, which is bullshit. So,
but I'm talking about,
they're not going to let that go
the
down.
Undoing, though. That's the undoing. That's everything he's going to throw out. But as far as honestly, in addition to, I don't see Goodell doing anything else with an apology. I sure as shit don't see him specifically calling out Kaepernick to say I was wrong or to help him come back. You know what I mean? If that help is wanted.
So Adrian Peterson has already said that the racial slurs, pretty much everybody on that team has already agreed that they're going to kneel every game. So I wouldn't be surprised if other teams, I'm sure other people have. It's just Peterson was the first athlete that I've heard come out outright and say, hey, I've already talked to pretty much all of my teammates and we're all about to do this. Them being in Washington that's actually a pretty big deal, being right there in where the White House is. Goodell, a couple things that I think are interesting from what I've researched today when we were talking, I knew we were going to talk about this topic. Goodell, based on a lot of players who've had conversations with him and a lot of reporters and people who report on these things in sports media, have said that Goodell actually wanted to back the players more, even from Kaepernick on. But at the end of the day, you have to remember Roger Goodell works for the owners, so he works for the owners, so he can't he's not like Adam Silver.
You even have the damn president coming at him too. Like, you have government officials looking at you like, your guys are kneeling. Like, man, it's tough. I mean, I obviously that's a nice thing to say to the public, right? Like, who really knows how he really feels and if he really would have stepped up if he could have.
No, absolutely. But I'm just going by the information that I found out that and it's not just players saying this, it's actually reporters that are digging and asking these questions. I just found that interesting that Goodell wanted to be even more proactive. Like, and then you find out things like he was pushing for the Kaepernick workout. Like, he's trying. You can see that he has tried. And but he can, like you said, he can only do so much because he works for the owners. And obviously the owners feel a certain way about Kaepernick. I think now you're at a point where it don't really matter what the owners think, because no owner can come out right now and try to force his team to kneel. I'd be interested to see what Jerry Jones does, because he's already said any player that kneels will get fired. I guarantee you, if Dak Prescott or Ezekiel Elliott or Amari Cooper take a knee, he's not firing them. So I want
Dak.
that.
He might fire Dak.
Dak ain't getting signed.
So he doesn't have to pay him.
Yeah. So we don't have to pay him. So Andy Dalton's there. So yeah, you're right. But yeah, I would like to see if Zeke or DeMarcus Lawrence or I can't remember the other good defensive player that they have on that team. But any of this black star players, if they did that, I would love to see his reaction, because not that I don't think he cares, but I would just like to see that play out in the media. Trump kind of insinuated that Goodell's being bullied into this stance, that he shouldn't have said anything. And, I'll be honest with you guys. I was with Trump at the beginning, and I've been super consistent about this. No. Oh, my bad, Mike. I'm sorry. I'm being selfish. I'm interrupting you. Go ahead.
No, I was going to do a drum roll for you.
Oh, okay. No.
I thought you were making a big announcement.
No. What I'm saying is, at the beginning, like when he was running for the first, obviously the first time, but when he was running, I was all behind America First. I voted for Mitt Romney, honestly, during the first Obama term for that same reason. I believed in that business was the way to save America, that you can't worry about being on Jimmy Fallon and doing all these things. And I put aside my personal feelings because I truly believed in America First. Like, we need to prioritize it. But I mean, this guy's he's out of control, bro. Like, I think before he has his base. We know what it is. And I think now the lines have been drawn so hard that now he's just completely leaning into it. He's
Yeah,
like
he
he's
doesn't
doing
know where to
everything.
go. Like,
No,
yeah,
he knows exactly where to go. He's going there.
right,
He's doing it right
right,
now as we speak,
yeah,
condemning kneeling, telling people like he's keeping that narrative, much like Drew Brees, right? He told Drew Brees, oh, we
Not to
won't accept
backtrack.
no kneeling. Not
yeah.
don't
You
backtrack
shouldn't
your words.
apologize. Yeah, he said, "Don't
Keeping it,
apologize."
don't apologize because again, Drew Brees' mistake, and as you see, his wife is like that PR machine for Drew Brees is out of control. Now his wife, like they're doing everything that impossible to make you like Drew Brees again. Like nobody's gonna get mad at his wife, bro. Like now he just threw his wife out there, but
You don't put
you
that
know,
smoking hot angel on TV to
I know
apologize for you, Drew. Come on,
exactly.
what's wrong with you?
Like,
Every time Trump tweets about this, Biden is like so happy because everybody forgets what he said. Like, if you don't vote for me, you're not black. Now he's like pointing at the tweets a little bit.
but
So,
the point is they're keeping it on the flag for a reason because they know that triggers a large portion of
of
America,
course,
and that's So what is the NFL? This is going to be an ongoing problem for the NFL. No,
No, I don't think it's going to be a problem though. Are you talking specifically about the Drew thing
I'm
or the
no,
protest?
I'm talking about Trump stance and how NFL is
Well,
seemingly making
let's look
face
at.
turn.
Well,
I
but
don't
let's look
think
at.
it's- Go ahead, Ty. Sorry.
No, I'm saying let's look at. We just made the post about Kaepernick. Let's talk about this. We just made
yeah,
a post about Kaepernick might be returning. First of all, this is a post that we made that said nothing about kneeling, said nothing political. It's a post that only said Kaepernick might be on a roster next season, and that's all the post said.
Executive,
And we,
there's growing. I'm sorry, so I'm just going to clarify it for those
yeah,
listening. The post was literally saying there is internal discussions among executives in the league that are telling us that Kaepernick might be on a roster in 20. Don't be surprised.
period. That's all. That's all that
Period.
was reported.
That's all
We
it
put
said.
that out there. We shared it to a bunch of groups. A lot of people are commenting and making it and turning it into a political thing and being angry, like don't sign him. Like he brings politics into this, and all he does is want to kneel. He doesn't really care. He doesn't really want to play. People, there is still this side that is like F you kneeling for the American flag, or kneeling during the American flag, F you disrespecting the American flag. There's still a large population of people that feel that way. So it is going to be an issue going forward because now a lot of black people are mad and angry, and now it's like, motherfucker, I am kneeling and I will not play. I'm pissed. So, and now the NFL's had their hands forced. So like, oh shit, we got to let them kneel now because we're not trying to fuck with them. But now we have even more people like, oh man, you're disrespecting the flag. So yeah, it's gonna. I don't know what's gonna happen, but people are mad about that on both sides, and people don't want neither side wants to budge.
And part of it is I do think you're always going to have those extremists that just like Drew Brees that don't see the issue. I think it's half and half. You have a lot of people where their eyes are really open now, where they thought it was just people kneeling because they didn't fully understand it back then, and now that they see it and they see why, and Goodell had said it, and whether he meant it or not, I don't think he really truly sees why still, but that's just me hating on Goodell, the greatest commissioner to ever live, says Jerm.
He is the greatest commissioner ever lived. He's done so. All right, good. Sorry.
No, but I do think a lot of eyes are open, but I still think you're always going to get those extremists that don't. But I don't think the NFL is going to cater to them so much. They're not losing any money. And furthermore, I think for those people that are still on the fence of, I like football, but I don't like to see people take a knee. It's like, well, how have you been doing in the last 3 months without any sports? So are you really going to choose to not watch one when you can? You know what I mean? I feel like it's an unfortunate perfect storm of everything kind of culminating for those people of like, dude, they're not losing that money at all, especially after they tell them you can't go in person to see the games. You only have to watch them on TV. You know what I mean? It's just kind of like everything coming together to where they're going to lose some viewers, but it's not going to have an impact that they were initially afraid of, you know?
It's either they lose their product or they lose their viewers. Like the brand is built off black athletes, and they need to appreciate that and respect that. And if I was Roger Goodell, the only thing I'm upset about, and maybe this is him being handcuffed, is I'd be like, they could do whatever they want to the flag. The flag's done nothing for them, So,
Well, the easy fix. Oh, sorry, Mike. I'm sorry. I didn't know.
My question to you guys is: I've sat during the national anthem. What is that? Is when we're allowed back in the stands? Is that our approach? because you can't really kneel from the. Hey, hi Charlotte.
What?
Hi Charlotte.
What?
I love that. What she just told her mom. What?
Great.
What?
Well,
I
the
love,
easy
dude,
fix, Mike.
Go ahead, John.
Well, I'm sorry. The easy fix, honestly, is to just stop doing the national anthem before the game, or at least stop
Right.
televising it. Right? That's the
Or
easiest.
I got a nice fix I thought about. If you want us to respect America, all right, you want us to feel good about America, then give us what we're owed. Okay, how about that? Give the players like majority ownership or something along those lines. How about you
Right.
flip that? How about you want to stand up doing it? You want me to stand up and pledge allegiance to this country? Then give me what I'm fucking owed finally. Give me ownership, way bigger ownership. What do the players get? They're like,
Well, no,
small-
it's you, what you would want is more revenue split, right?
Yeah,
Like,
I don't want
you
to
would-
split. I want a split. I want ownership percentage. I want ownership. Give me ownership in the league, and I'll stand up and I'll pledge.
in
Because
terms
now
of
we're
what,
now we
like
finally
stock,
in terms of
or you
ownership.
saying, like just
figure it out.
Then you get tricky, right? Like figure it out. There's like too many players, right? Like that would be
That would work in basketball. Like
that would work in that could work in basketball. But football,
Yeah.
there's you essentially have a 99-man roster between the 53-man regular roster, the practice squad. That would be hard. I get what you're saying. The line of thinking is fine, right? I would if I were the players, either give me more of the revenue split or treat. So like the fight that's happening in baseball is over the revenue split. It's based on a percentage of games played. The revenue split is only based on 100% of the games played. So what you should do is have your base agreement on whatever the revenue split is. And if the league makes extra money based on whatever, then that should be a separate agreement. Then whatever percentage extra there is, the players get this and the owners get that. And then that way everybody's happy. It should be honestly, it should be a 50-50 split. I know a lot of players don't want to hear that, but it should be a 50-50 split for the regular season. And if the league makes more money, because then there's an incentive for the players to do extra things and the owners to do extra things, and then split it, based on that. That's what they should do. But when you deal with millionaires and sometimes billionaires and a lot of these ownership groups and the athletes, money gets in the way, as we've seen in baseball. I want to switch to Drew Brees because I want to hurry up and get to our draft. Drew Brees, Trump said to Drew Brees not to take back what you said, that he will not tolerate kneeling, and Drew Brees fired back at him and said no. Right? That was important to me. I just wanted to get your guys' thoughts on Drew Brees basically defying President Trump there.
Mm-hmm.
He had no
It
choice.
was.
He has no choice. That's all I can really say.
Right.
I thought he might retire. After that came out, I was like, all right, this guy might have to retire. Like, no joke. So he had no other choice but to completely flip the switch. Like, you can't be an NFL player, especially a quarterback. You can't lead a team with that kind of mindset set today. So he has no choice but to go that way. So it's always gonna be hard for me to really know how Brees feels, and I still look at him like he probably is more of a nationalist than he is a humanist. It feels that way a little bit. So, and I'm the jury's still out on him, in my opinion.
Agreed. And I also think that sometimes you need a moment like that to open your eyes to your own faults. And this is obviously a fault of Drew Brees, from his family, from his heritage, that he obviously is now realizing, I don't want to be on the wrong side of this anymore, or turn a blind eye to it, right? Because Jamal said he loved Drew Brees. He was his favorite quarterback. I've had fantasy drafts with him when he's telling me this is Drew Brees' year.
I was going to say he had fantasies about him.
No.
I have. I've had many
he
fantasies
has.
about it.
Yeah. But so it is nice to see him clap back towards Trump, because Trump wants that division. He wants that division in the NFL. He brought back up the kneeling last year when there wasn't that much mainstream press about it. People were, I don't want to say over it, but the players were doing their protest, and the fans were doing whatever they felt, and our president felt the need to keep bringing it back up, right? Yeah. He's like, if I was an owner, which, by the way, the NFL would not allow him to be an owner. He tried tons of times, but he's like,
tried to buy the Bills.
Yeah, he was like, if I was an owner, I'd be like, you off the field, get out of here. Like, yeah. Okay.
Like, how racist does that sound? Like, racist does that sound?
Right. Yeah. And it's something I read a lot of articles, and I'm trying to still learn how to better myself as a human being. And even LeBron James talked about how NFL and the word owner, like it's like a slave trade. And so ironically, you guys had a Stuff About Sports a couple of weeks ago where you talked about him playing for the Cowboys. But LeBron has spoke about the NFL and the treatment of the players. And hopefully that will change, because if baseball could play these players as much as they do, they could spread that love through a little bit more throughout that. I know it's a 99-man roster, and like you said, it's hard to pay everybody, but they got to figure something out.
All right. Corey, do you have anything? Or because I'll move on, because I want to get
No,
your input.
you guys hit it on the head, so you're good.
All right. So now it's time to shine. Bert could not join us today. He had something pop up. So I did want to get into come on, guys. He's dealing with some stuff for work. I wanted to get into hockey because hockey's also gearing up, and I want to ask some hockey questions of our resident hockey expert here. I'm actually going to watch this thing. I'm interested. I keep reading about this stuff, and generally, I know we kind of touched on it a few weeks ago when it was announced that they were going to do this. I think it's 24 team playoff run. Are they going to be playing any regular season games?
No. So basically, the top 4 teams from each conference are going to have, I think they said 3 or 4 games just to kind of see where the top 4 are seated. And then after that, what are you laughing at?
No, I was sleeping.
Mike's falling asleep.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. Ignore him.
Anyway, so listen, top 4 from each conference are all going to have play games to kind of figure out the seeding of the top 4. Everybody else is going to have a qualifying round robin tournament to see where they seed from there. So for like a qualifying round, those games have already been set. And then after they all qualify and figure out who gets seeded where, then the top 4 will play whoever won the qualifying rounds. So what's crazy is there's going to be a lot of hockey. It's a lot more playoff hockey than you've ever seen, because when it gets to the series of who plays who for the actual cup, they're all 7-game series, where in the past, the first 2 rounds have been 5-game series. So those extra 2 games, or the possibility of that, can really make some sort of difference depending on who you're playing. There are some teams you only want to have a limited time playing because you don't want them to get any momentum under them.
Are they going to do? That they're going to try to recoup as much money as they can. So adding some playoff games will do that. Are they talking about expanding the rosters, like the NBA is possibly doing, to kind of not only prepare for any positive COVID cases, but just like you said, it's going to be a lot of hockey in a shorter period of time. They might need the extra bodies. Have you heard anything like that?
No, I haven't read anything about them purposely doing that, whether it just hasn't hit the front page or not. I don't know where they stand as far as calling guys up from the minors and all that other stuff. But it is going to be a lot of hockey, like you said. So it is going to wear. Also, we don't know what kind of shape these guys are in. So for all these predictions to come out and all right, I want to stick towards whoever was ranked the most. Boston had the best odds before going into COVID of winning the Stanley Cup. But you have no idea what teams have been doing. Teams are going to be given a grace period to kind of try to get their shit together. But it's not like hockey is just like basketball. If you catch that flame in the last 3 weeks of the season, you can sneak into the playoffs and still give teams a run for their money that first round, that top seed, that second seed. So just like football, you know what I mean? It's just it's all about who catches fire late, and everybody's going to be sitting on ice. So no pun intended.
I was actually. It's funny you said that, because that was one of my main things I was thinking about. Like it's in a way, it's not like basketball or football, because at least in those sports you can go outside and work on your game, right? You can find a hoop anywhere. You could find a flat surface of grass and run. Hockey, what are you supposed to do? The buildings are closed. It's not like you can't get out there. Rollerblading and ice skating are different, so it's not like you can go out there on rollerblades and kind of simulate it. I am interested to see how the players perform. Obviously, they're all the top level, so I'm surprised. I don't think there's like any type of regular season like the NBA is trying to do. So it'll be interesting to see how maybe that's what the 2 extra games are for. Who knows? So what teams do you think or team, it can be singular, got screwed the most? Like you just mentioned, I think what was it? The Bruins had momentum going in.
Well, the Bruins
Obviously,
were the top seed. They
they were.
just
Okay,
made the
so they
best
were. Yeah.
odds to win. Yeah. So
So what
it's
team?
it's hard to say. See, with this format, it only left what 4 or 5 teams that didn't make the playoffs. The Devils being one of them. So it was pretty much everybody in the playoffs. So I wouldn't say it screwed anybody except for those teams that were guaranteed a playoff spot that were edging out some of the teams that were competitive with them, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, you're here too. You're in the playoffs now too. So I think it adds an extra threat to teams like the Predators or the Maple Leafs or teams that basically just kind of was able to squeak into the playoffs with not realizing they're going to have to beat the same teams that they just beat to get in the first place. You know what I mean? Does that make sense? For lack of trying to put my brain together, it's just I don't think anybody got screwed with where they're seated. I just think they have a lot more work to put in to actually make it a little bit further.
Yeah,
you got a question on Facebook too.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry, Mike.
Chaos Kaz.
Yeah.
Hockey is best. Hockey is best of 7 all rounds. Always has been. Are they doing a best of 5 in the first round this year? Question mark.
No, the qualifying rounds, I believe, are best of 5, but as soon as you get past that, it's all best of 7.
Okay.
It's longer. It's longer this year than it has been. I mean, I could triple check because this is
it's an extra round, right? Yeah.
It's an extra round, right? Okay.
Yeah.
So the first round is 5.
When I asked you about who got screwed the most and I got your answer, does that same apply to who do you think benefits the most? Because I know in the NBA, like the Milwaukee Bucks, for example, number 1 seed in the East, they were on fire the last few weeks of the season. And that type of momentum is hard. They've been off for 2.5 months. That momentum is gone. So I didn't know if there was a team in hockey that kind of had that kind of push or run that would hurt them. That usually, like the Bucks, they were already probably the best team in the East, but a lot like that gap in the East is close, and then all of a sudden the Bucks just took off out of nowhere. So I didn't know if that same thing kind of applied in hockey.
You as far as catching that flame towards the end of the season? Yeah, I mean, absolutely. But as far as seeing something this year, I mean, like you said, they've been sitting out for too long.
Yeah,
and
it don't matter.
To be honest with you, it feels like it's been a year without hockey, and I can't even remember who was the team that was plowing through before all this shit hit the fan. To be completely honest,
the Flyers are very streaky. I know that just from working in Philly. It seemed like they dug a hole and now they're out of it.
So basically, the Flyers they benefited the most from this because they dug out of that hole, and right when COVID ended, they were sitting in a pretty good spot. So much so to where they ended up catching the number 4 seed in the East overall. And because they were streaky, no one would anticipate them going into the playoffs at the number 4. You have teams like the Penguins, like Pittsburgh, that could very much take 5 out of 6 games or 8 out of 10 games in the home stretch and bump their record up a little bit. So the Capitals are sitting right at number 3 with a very similar record to the Flyers. And the Capitals won the Stanley Cup 2 years ago. So it's unique because it's more teams than we've ever seen in the playoffs. It's a lot more hockey. And anything can really happen. I'm a gambling man. I would still bet that either Tampa Bay or the Bruins kind of take it all, but that's just me.
Well, that was my next and last question to you. Like, who are your Stanley Cup picks, and who do you think is going to win it? I know they've all been sitting, and it's kind of hard to gauge. But based on what you know, who do you think is going to come out on top? Your best guess.
I would say you have to go with the heavy favorites, the ones that are seeded like 1 and 2, just because they played consistent, good hockey overall season. So Boston's number 1 out of the East. I don't really like anything that comes out of Boston personally, so I went to number 2. I'm going to pick Tampa Bay from the East. From the West, I mean, St. Louis is the heavy favorite. They won last year, so it'd be nice to see the Avalanche is also up there at number 2. But then Vegas is sitting at number 3, and it was 2 years ago now, 3 years ago, their inaugural season is where they made it to the Stanley Cup Final. That was 2 years ago.
2 years ago.
So it'd be nice to see them at it. I'd be ecstatic if we had like a Vegas, Tampa Bay playoff here.
Awesome.
Sure,
Awesome.
man.
Well, we'll see. NHL and there's going to be a lot of sports in the second half of the summer. That's why, honestly, baseball. I was thinking about this today. We don't give a shit what you do because nobody's going to watch you anyway because we're going to have mad shit to watch. And go ahead, Mike.
No, here's the thing. Like, the players have to come back for the 48 games, regardless. So that's going to happen. So now they're just negotiating more games and more money off
Listen,
of that.
They can negotiate whatever they want. We ain't watching it.
Games. The reason why the owners don't care if it's only 48 games is because then every game would be like a playoff game, and it would have national coverage. You know. But the thing is, like, baseball's not like that. Like you said, it's streaky. There's a reason why there's 100+ games. There's a reason why I'd prefer it to be 80 games. Is because then you could actually put like a real kind of you could say it was a real season in my mind. So,
well, we got a lot of things. Baseball will figure it out eventually, and NHL football's coming.
COVID.
Damn, COVID, man, you got COVID. Damn.
Damn.
So now that we've covered all that, I forgot to mention PGA Tour is back this weekend as well. So I know you guys are some golf fans. We got the Charles Schwab Challenge. So shout out to golf coming back.
What is
PGA
Charles
actual
Schwab?
golf.
Is that the?
It's like the investment thing, right? Like
Financial planning.
Financial planning. Yeah, there you go.
Okay. I thought it was like.
But the point is,
solution.
it's not a gimmick golf match with like Peyton Manning. It's like real PGA golf. So shout out to them. Now, guys, I don't have any imaging for this. I don't have any fancy music.
Cue the
What
music.
we've all been waiting for. Do 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 do. So
No, we need white music. We need white music.
Time was I got. That's what I got.
Play the Seinfeld theme song.
Yeah, Seinfeld. Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
Boo, boo, boo. The White Excellence Fantasy Draft presented by the Give Us a Shot Network. Let me tell you, we want to shout out all of the reason why this came about. This was my idea. Let's full disclaimer. Let's bail out Mike and Corey and Bert, who was originally supposed to be.
And I will say that I love it as well, and I think it's hilarious, and I'm
think it's
all
hysterical.
for it.
It's funny, and I'll be honest with you guys. We're not trying to make fun of white athletes. I was legit
Yes, we are.
trying to. We are a little bit. I'm not. I just lied to you. I really lied. We are trying to find the funny in all of this crisis. I think white people as a whole are taking a little bit of heat. I know.
Oh,
obviously,
poor white guy.
Yeah, I said that. I got a warning for that. Like, oh, poor white people. You guys have had it so hard because everybody's like, well, all lives matter, and you guys shouldn't be like this. And I'm like, oh my god, poor white babies. Oh, you guys don't just have to deal with so much in this country. Enough of you all lives matter people. I'm sick of you. Anyway, we wanted to showcase and show love to our white brethren and the white athlete. Not to say that it's dying, but they kind of don't get the credit they deserve. And there's plenty of great white athletes over time. So what we have done here today is we are going to draft the ultimate white athletic team. We're each going to have 5 picks. We're going to go around the room and 5 rounds. And then we are going to put up our ultimate white athletic team for you guys to vote on. Now, Bert had the number 1 pick. He's not here. So the draft order will be Mike, Ty, Corey, and then me. So round 1, you guys write down your picks and then send them to me afterwards, and we'll put them up. Or I'll write them down. Don't worry about it. I will write them down. Mike, your number 1 pick in the White Excellence Fantasy Draft is?
All right. So,
No pressure.
Sound excited, Mike. Sound excited about this.
I'm going with the most whitest sport you could think of. It's a sport of brains. He was the best chess player of his time. His name is Tommy Jefferson. He was also
Thomas Jefferson.
Thomas Jefferson is my number 1 pick.
Wait, are we doing basketball or are we doing all sports?
No, all
No, we're
sports.
doing
This is all
sports.
sports.
Yeah,
All-
yeah.
really?
He was a chess
Alright.
player. He was a chess player. He also owned 600 plus slaves, largest amount from any president who ever sat. So that's my first pick, Thomas
He played what? What did he
Jefferson.
It's
Chess.
chess.
Yeah,
Chess is
it's
a
a mind game.
competition.
It's a muscle. He worked it,
Okay.
and he had
Listen,
600
man.
slaves. So
Thanks.
doesn't get.
Oh, good.
It doesn't. Yeah.
That's not white. Okay. Ty.
Thank you, Mike, for leaving the greatest white athlete on the board. Thank you, Mike. I'm gonna take him, Michael Phelps. Michael
Ooh.
Phelps. All right. How many gold medals does Michael Phelps have? All right. That's the greatest white athlete of all time. Book it. Who's number 2?
He was on my big board. He has 7 world records and he has an Olympic gold medal. He's the youngest guy to have a world record.
He hasn't
at the
had
age
one
of
Olympic
15.
gold medal. He has like 25 Olympic gold medals, I think.
No, he has an Olympic world record. I'm saying he has
Okay,
the Olympic world record, and he has 7 world records, and he's the youngest swimmer to have a world record at the age of 15.
He
All right,
smokes
Corey,
pot.
you're up. And he
You
smokes pot.
cannot have a white excellence draft without someone that has white in his last name, and I'm talking pro snowboarder Sean White.
Yes. Good job. That's a
Excellent.
nice pick.
Excellent number 1 pick. Excellent number 1 pick. He's probably the one white athlete that literally put his sport on the map, right?
Yo, I love Sean White. He did a lot. Didn't he skateboard? He skateboard and snowboard, didn't he?
He dominated the X Games
And
for like
and bikes, I
decade.
think.
And
Yeah,
he did a
he's
bunch
lit.
of shit.
He's
He
lit.
was the X Games. I like honestly, if it wasn't for Sean White, the X Games would not be what it was at all. It's still a thing. People are still tuning in. It still gets a lot of coverage on ESPN.
They're drinking Rockstar energy drinks, getting crazy.
Yeah.
It's unreal, man. It's unreal.
Hell yeah, it's awesome.
Sean, good pick.
Good pick. That's an excellent pick. Actually, both of those guys were on my big board. I didn't think you guys were gonna do it to me. So, for my number 1 pick in my in my white excellence draft, you need a leader. And when you draft a team, you need the foundation. And what better leader to have than the greatest leader in football and in the KKK, Drew Brees? Yes, I can't quit him. I can't quit him. Look up any passing category stat. Guess who's on top? You guessed it, buddy. Drew Brees. Passing yards, gotcha. Touchdowns, gotcha. Completion percentage, gotcha. Attempts, gotcha. He has it all. He is the greatest. I don't care what Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady. If Drew Brees is the greatest quarterback of all time by talent, with raw talent, I'll say it. Drew Brees is my number 1 pick. All right, Mike. Round 2.
I'm going with Andrew Johnson. I already mentioned him once in this.
Jesus Christ.
He brought baseball to the White
presidents.
House. Yeah, he brought baseball to the White House. Andrew Johnson served as Lincoln's vice president before becoming president in 1865. For you that don't know, Abe Lincoln was killed. He owned at least half a dozen enslaved people in his native of Tennessee. He even lobbied for Lincoln to exclude the state. He lobbied for Lincoln to exclude the state from the Emancipation Proclamation. Damn the Negroes. I'm fighting the traitorous aristocrats, their masters, was his quote about the Civil War. So, Andrew Johnson, you're my number 2 player. You make me embarrassed to enjoy baseball. That's it. So, on to the next one.
Ty, round 2.
Man, I'm glad Mike is leaving all the good athletes for your
All the
boy.
good people in general.
Because I didn't
too.
think he was going to make it back around. I can't pass up on my boy, Tom Brady. How dare you, Jamal, pick Brees over your boy? Brady is the greatest of all time, regardless of color, period. So, of course, he's the greatest white quarterback. Like, yes, Tom Brady. I can't wait to see the votes on this. My team's winning. Who's next? Brady, book it. And Phelps,
good pick.
book it.
Good pick on the greatest system quarterback of all time. Corey, who's your second pick in the white excellence draft?
We talked a little bit of hockey, so you got to go Mr. Hockey himself, Wayne Gretzky. All right,
Excellent.
but the great one, Mr. Hockey, I think was Gordie Howe. So you got to go the great one, Wayne Gretzky.
Yeah, when you have the name the Great One, I mean, like, there's nothing. I don't even care what's happening. If everybody's universally acknowledging you as the Great One, I mean,
He's a Jordan in hockey. Like, it's just, you don't even talk about it. Like, we know he's number one. Who's number two? That's like,
yeah. It's like, yeah, he's number one, and everybody else is like all the way down there. So, great pick. My number two is the greatest white basketball player to ever play the game, and that is the Hick from French Lick, Larry Joe Bird. He's by far the greatest white basketball player.
Yes.
There's not even, and he's probably a top 5-6 player ever of NBA.
Top five.
So when I'm building my team, you need your leader, the guy who's going to fight you through the battles, the leader of Who Dat KKK Nation, Drew Brees. And what you need is a strong number two, somebody who can get it done in any spot in you that you need. And Larry Bird could do it all. He was powerful. He was graceful. He could shoot. He could rebound. He could pass. He was a complete soldier. So you need a complete player on your team. And that's why Larry Bird is my number two pick. Mike, continue to butcher this for us.
All right.
What president is next?
No. I'm going with a wrestler this time, guys. All right.
Uh-oh.
Ulysses S. Grant. He was the last president to personally own slaves. He served 2 terms between 1869 and 1877. The former commanding general of the Union Army had kept a lone black slave named William Jones in the years before the Civil War. He gave him his freedom in 1859. Grant would later slum up his evolving views on slavery in 1878, as he was quoted as saying that it would be a stain to the Union, that people had once been bought and sold like cattle. So eventually he realized his wrongs, but whatever, bro, you're my wrestler. So you're in there. On to you, Ty.
Wait, so he's a wrestler? Like,
He wrestled.
Okay.
Yeah, he wrestled. Yeah.
As long as these guys are athletes, we're not gonna rebuttal you, Mike. As long as he's a wrestler, then I'm not mad at your top 3 so far. But you're leaving the best athletes for your boy, and I appreciate it. I'm looking at my big boy. I didn't expect these guys to be here. You know, I don't know who was going to be next. Which of these white greats should I choose next? I think I have to go your boy over Babe Ruth, Jim Thorpe. And y'all wouldn't even know that I knew who he was.
That is.
Exactly. How do you not know who he is?
How do I not know who he is?
He played baseball and football and an Olympian.
Oh,
better athlete than Babe Ruth. He's like the white Bo Jackson. Look him up, Jim Thorpe.
Babe Ruth is mixed anyway, so he doesn't.
Sounds like a ski. It sounds like a ski mountain that I've been to. Jim Thorpe.
Corey,
I'm pulling him up just so you know. He's an Olympic gold medalist and
I'm not mad at.
Oh, he's a Native American. Oh, that don't count.
Yeah.
Asterisk.
Yeah.
Got an asterisk next to his name.
Oh,
Get him out of here.
You know what? I'm not allowed to do that.
What would Trump call him?
So you know what?
Trump Pocahontas.
That's perfect because I want another cheater. I want another person that I know will win no matter what. Lance Armstrong.
Oh, I was going to pick that.
Oh,
Stole it right out from under me.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Thank you. I'm glad I Googled and found out
I
that
can't believe you guys are actually getting
a cheating Native American. A cheater.
Oh my God.
You were Native.
Right out from under me.
Lance Armstrong.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Feel better.
Awesome pick. Excellent pick. All right, Corey. I know the sound of defeat when I hear it. All right. So now you have to move down your big board. Who is your third pick?
For those
all right, here we go.
Third pick in the all-white team. Corey, go.
All-white, excellent fantasy draft.
I mean, listen, my third guy, he's going to have to be a shit talker. He's someone to get the rest of the boys fired up.
John Walker.
Tennis legend Johnny McEnroe, the McBrat.
Yes.
All right?
Yes.
Winning 881 matches and only losing like 128. He's got an 80-some-odd win percentage. The man, the one that can get the team going, Johnny Mac.
Love it. I love that pick. So I based my rounds based on need. So I have my leader, okay? I have my overall complete player threat. Now, I respect Corey for the shit talker. I saved that for the fourth round. The third round, I think it's important to have a level-headed person in the room, someone who can. There's a lot of big egos on this team, so you need somebody to level everything out. And the perfect man for the job is a woman, and her name is Sue Bird. Ooh. Sue Bird is probably, in my opinion, one of the greatest women basketball players to ever live, if not the greatest. 4-time gold medal winner, 3-time WNBA champion, multiple-time All-Star, and the current assist leader. So she can delegate, obviously. So that's what I need on this team, someone who can delegate. She also led, as a freshman, led her high school team to a 114-4 record throughout her entire career. They only lost 4 games. So Sue Bird, of the Seattle Storm, one of the on the Mount Rushmore of WNBA players, is my third pick. Michael.
Okay, I agree with you. Women are key in this draft, and leaders are too. So I'm going to start with the greatest horse racer of his time, George Washington. Thomas Jefferson, also on my team, was the one that brought this to my attention. He said he's the best horseman of his age. The best. Thomas Jefferson just said that you're the best horseman of your age. You're on my team. Okay?
And I'm just hearing about it now.
Right.
Yeah.
Most Americans know George Washington owned and enslaved people in Mount Vernon, in his Mount Vernon home. But fewer people know that his wife, Martha, who's really the person I'm drafting, dramatically increased his enslaved population there. When they wed in 1759, George had owned around 18 people. Martha, one of the richest women in Virginia, owned 84. That sneaky little bitch. Mm-hmm. Over 100 people now. Still not on the. That's why I went with Tom first. Tom had 600. This is still around 100. But yeah, he's on my team, guys.
Good pick.
Thank you. George Washington, super underrated athlete. All right, hi.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and just go with Babe Ruth. He fell back to me. I didn't think I was going to make it back. Babe Ruth is the guy. And I'm going to win this poll, by the way. If the fans are choosing, I'm telling you right now, if you're looking at my squad, it's not even close. Who's next? Babe Ruth.
Corey, 4th pick in the White Excellence Fantasy Draft.
I mean, I think you're just missing the boat here, Ty. I mean, you have a lot of good white athletes, but they're good. They're not great. This is white excellence here, okay? So my 4th pick, I'm going with an old head, someone that's been around the game for a long time, someone that invents things. He's innovative. He creates things. He mixes a little bit of lemonade with a little bit of iced tea. Mr. Arnold Palmer.
Okay.
Innovator.
Mm-hmm.
Love that. Love that. Classy pick. All right, my 4th pick. I have my mother hen, I have my leader, and I have my complete player. What I need is a tactician. I need somebody who can move within and out of the lines. Great endurance. I just need a pace guy. So I need somebody who has excellent endurance to kind of carry the team in spurts where the heavy hitters aren't there. And that's why I'm going with the greatest white soccer player of all time, Lionel Messi. Lionel Messi has 6 golden boots. I don't know how this is pronounced, but he also has 6 Ballon d'Ors, which I guess are like super MVPs, but 5 of them came this decade. He's like the leading scorer in all his divisions. He's played in multiple leagues in soccer, and he's been at the top at every single one of them. So Lionel Messi is my.
I know nothing about soccer, but I know that he's a badass. I do know that he is a bad. Every time I play FIFA, I try to use. He's France, right? I like to use him.
Argentina.
Argentina. Oh damn. Either way, I know that I try to use him because he's like super fast. And he's lit. I know that. I don't watch soccer, but Messi is that dude.
Nice, Mike.
Your
5th pick, man.
I'm going with the tag team champions of America. Tricky Dick Nixon and Double R Ronald Reagan, baby. I'm going for a twofer. Let me share you this. Now, recently, because it takes a while for this stuff to get into the Americans' hands. But this is a transcript from a conversation from both of them. And this is Reagan talking. He's like, last night, I tell you to watch the thing on television, as I did, Reagan said, to those monkeys from those African countries, damn them. And they're still uncomfortable wearing shoes. Nixon begins laughing hard. Fuck them both. And these are people that were presidents or even alive in our time frame. So,
Mike, what did they do athletically? Is what
okay, Richard Nixon was a bench warmer on football, an undersized lineman who was outstanding attributes to no matter who started him. It gets better.
First of all, undersized lineman sounds like a regular person. Like an undersized lineman just sounds like me.
He was used as scrapped iron, he often said, but he held incredible self-discipline and determination. Here's a fun fact. Throughout his life, he remained a devoted fan of the game. And as president, by some accounts, he gave his friend, Washington Redskins racial slurs, coach George Allen, a play to run in the 1973 Super Bowl. The tricky Dicky. No, it wasn't called that, but if I got to name it, that's what it would have been. Reagan also played football. Reagan did not support any civil rights bills throughout the years. He opposed the Civil Rights Act of 1964 and Voting Rights Act of 1965, signed in law by Lyndon Johnson. In 1988, he vetoed the Civil Rights Restoration Act, but the veto was overridden by Congress. So, yeah, that's it. Just so you know.
Nobody tell me hockey is boring or talking about hockey is boring, because I'm going to refer you right back to this White Excellence draft, right to Mr. Powers.
Yeah.
Hey, man.
Ty, who's your fifth pick?
First of all, thanks. Mike's like helping me out because he's first of all not leaving the players for me, but also I'm taking time while he's giving me history lessons to think about who should I draft next. And I know basketball players. Surprisingly, Jamal got Bird. I wanted Bird obviously, but I had to take Phelps and Brady. I got Phelps, Brady, Armstrong, Ruth, and I feel good about my basketball player. I feel real good about him. Steve Nash. That's him. That's the one. That's the next best white basketball player for me. It's Steve Nash.
Steve Nash is an excellent pick, even though he's South African. And
he's Canadian, though. He's Canadian.
Oh, he's Canadian. Okay. All right, that's cool. I'll take it.
Listen, I seen him play. He's dope, and he is white, and there's no debate about it.
He can play some good hockey too.
Yeah, he's and he can play soccer. He's a great athlete all the way around. Good,
multiple MVP, really man. That guy was a wizard with the ball, man. It was hard. I'm debating with him. I don't want you guys to get the next guy. Is him and another point guard. It's Steve Nash, though, the next best white player for me. Basketball wise.
You know who everybody's leaving on the table?
That's Corey. Hey, Corey, go ahead and make your pick, the fifth pick in the draft.
Fifth and final pick. This one was tough because I was kind of torn between both. But I'm going to have to go. I got, a lot of balls, a lot of shit talkers, a lot of good players, some old heads here. I got to go with the brains. I don't have brains on my team yet.
Surprisingly. They're all white. How?
I don't know. That's football legend John Madden.
Ooh,
John Madden.
Okay.
Been around the game a long time, seen a lot of things, and more importantly, he's got the big brain. Got the big brain.
Did John Madden play football?
He did.
Okay, there you go.
He did.
Yeah, he played with Woodrow Wilson.
Did he?
No.
Yeah, he has no idea. Oh my God. So my last pick, because Bert wasn't here, there's actually a lot of great players, and people are going to kill us for this draft because we left a lot of great players on the table, and I'll mention them afterwards. But my big board is, I don't want to have three basketball players on my list, and I have a soccer player, I have a football player.
Hold on, so there's a basketball player that's higher that we haven't picked. Who is he? Tell me.
Oh, I'll tell you right now, and he's not my pick, but I'll just go ahead and say John Stockton. He played 19 seasons in the NBA.
So that was for me. It was Nash, Stockton, and Jerry West. And Jerry West was the other one I was thinking about.
Jerry West is up there too. And he was on
let's
big
change
board
that
too.
logo.
No. Jerry West averaged 27 points a game, so he's
Jerry West is that dude. Yeah.
So So
Yeah,
he
still change the logo.
not Jerry. John Stockton played 19 seasons in the NBA. Guess how many times he made the playoffs? Just guess.
Once.
19.
19 times. Every
Yep.
year he's played in the NBA,
Yep.
his team made it to the playoffs.
No, he was
That
dope. He
is-
was dope.
That is an insane statistic.
Well, he had the
He's a
mailman, right?
for not all those years, but he 10-time All-Star. He made the Dream Team rightly over Isaiah Thomas because he's a better point guard than Isaiah Thomas. And he's John Stockton is not my fifth pick, but he deserves to be on there. Matter of fact, since I have the last pick, I'll just run through a few that I'm not picking.
I have one.
We left Mike. Mike, no, you don't, Mike. You're done talking for the rest of the show. Mike Trout is probably the greatest talented baseball player of all time. I know a lot of people are going to scream Ted Wells. Mike Trout is 10 times better than Ted Wells ever was. Mike Trout is amazing, and when it's all said and done, he will be recognized as the greatest baseball player ever. And Christian McCaffrey already is the greatest white football player to ever play the game. That guy is fantastic.
But
He's
you don't
super
even.
dope.
You can't say that because you be chastising other quarterbacks for a couple years. This guy's only been in the league a couple
Skill
years.
players?
That's
Okay, so then I'll say he's the greatest white skill player that's ever played the
no,
game.
he's dope. I mean, I was just talking about that.
There's
To my
no-
wife, versus my white players, and I was like, man, McCaffrey is cold. Like, fuck, best white running back. He might be the best running back in the league. Period.
For sure.
Yeah.
Oh, for
He's
sure.
nasty.
But it's hard for me to rank quarterbacks athletically unless you're in a stratosphere like Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, Drew Brees, because a lot of them aren't just simply athletic. They just throw the ball. So that leaves my final pick. I need somebody who can handle the media. I need somebody, when we talk about white excellence, we need to talk about the very top of the class. And it doesn't get better than the 16-time world heavyweight champion, Ric Flair, who has wrestled for probably 70 years now, universally recognized as an icon. He wrestled way back when there was wrestling territories. Jay-Z, Snoop Dogg, and LeBron James have all said that Ric Flair is the inventor of swag. And that is the one thing that my team is missing. Okay? Ric Flair is the definition of white excellence. And so he is my last pick.
I just seen Elijah. Elijah just gave a really good one we missed, and that's Tim
Which one?
Tebow. Tim Tebow is a really that's a good one we missed as well.
Elijah, that is a good one. Tim Tebow is the greatest college quarterback.
College, definitely the best college quarterback, I would say, right?
Yeah, but there's
and
a
he's
few
friends with
that
Jesus.
there's few. There's Dirk Nowitzki. Mike, I said you're not allowed to talk the rest of the show. Dirk Nowitzki, right? Pistol Pete Maravich, right? For in terms of basketball, you could probably throw Kevin McHale. Obviously, there's a bunch of great white quarterbacks, right? There's
Mike Allstott. No,
Peyton Hillis is better than Mike
y'all.
Allstott. Peyton Hillis.
Peyton Hillis, you should be banned for the rest of the episode after that.
The 2
Peyton
years,
Hillis?
the 2 years of Peyton Hillis got him a Madden cover. What did Mike Allstott ever get in his
Talk
30
about
years?
Madden.
Of playing
Mike
in the NFL?
Allstott is the goat.
The
at
2 years of
fullback.
Peyton Hillis. The 2 years of Peyton Hillis dominance is greater.
You're
than
wrong.
The entire
Move
career
on.
of Mike Allstott.
Move on. You're wrong.
That's it. So we have, as a quick recap, we have me with Drew Brees,
Joe Montana.
Larry Bird, Sue Bird, Joe
Peyton
Montana.
Manning.
Peyton Manning did not make our list. If Mike took this seriously and Bert was here, I'm guessing these guys would all be on the board. But my team was Drew Brees, Larry Bird, Sue
I
Bird,
took mine
Lionel
super
Messi.
serious.
Mike, if you don't stop, you are not allowed to talk. You are done talking.
I had
Drew
that.
Brees, you ruined the white excellence draft. I'll say it. You know what? Let's just talk about it before we get out of here. I thought Bert ruined it. No, you, sir. You, sir, ruined the white excellence
Let me tell
draft.
you who fell off my draft, and
Go
I'm
ahead.
kind of Woodrow Wilson. He was a football fanatic, football coach,
Can
and
you
a
mute it?
shitty second baseman. He was a shitty second baseman. Hear me out.
No, you're done. You're done.
He
I'm done with
oversaw
you. I'm done with you.
unprecedented segregation in federal
Oh,
offense.
man.
It's the shameful side of his legacy that came to head in the afternoon in 1914 when he threw the civil rights leader William Monroe Trotter out of the Oval Office. In 1915, it gets better. Wilson sparked outrage by screening the racist film The Birth of a Nation at the White House, the silent movie that was retelling the Reconstruction through the eyes of the KKK. Oh, poor them. Like, oh, could you imagine the poor KKK has to go through the the reconstruction of the nation. So this
Bill
guy,
Walton. We missed Bill Walton, the big redwood.
Big Will.
Bill Walton, he didn't. If you look at Bill Walton's numbers, I know he's regarded as really good, but you wouldn't know that. You would have to watch him. And obviously we're not of that age of the Bill Walton era. Other than thankfully YouTube exists, and I have went back because I honestly was one of those guys. Why is everybody bigging up Bill Walton?
Well,
and
he was cool too, though. He's also just a really cool
I
guy.
get that, and I thought it was more of a culture thing, and I thought it was just because he was cool that people were overrating his basketball game. But I went back and actually watched some Bill Walton games, and he was actually really good. Obviously, the game was a lot different than it back then, but Kevin McHale's the same. Rick Barry, a lot of these guys.
Well, I liked White Chocolate. I had him on my big board was Jason Williams. I had him on my big board too. He was cold, man.
Yeah.
No, there's a lot that we missed. Like I said, there's a ton of quarterbacks. Peyton, Aaron Rodgers, obviously. Aaron Rodgers is probably the greatest talented quarterback I've ever seen with the ball.
Sammy Sosa. We missed Sammy Sosa.
Speaking of, all right, so
Jason Kidd.
Jason Kidd
is not white.
Enough for you guys. Speaking of, okay, nothing. I don't know what he is. Listen, speaking of Sammy Sosa, he's tied. Speaking of Sammy Sosa, I think ESPN is releasing a documentary next week about the home run chase, how Sammy Sosa and Mark McGwire basically saved baseball from being NHL, where NHL could not reach a TV deal because nobody was watching them, and they ended up getting stuck in purgatory for decades. And in the NHL, just honestly within the last 10 years, has started to kind of see a resurgence nationally. MLB was heading for that path, unless it was for Mark McGwire and Sammy Sosa. Mike, if you say anything about any U.S. president,
somebody did acid and played basketball.
Probably Bill Walton. It was probably Bill Walton.
That is awesome.
Oh, Bill Walton, yeah, for sure. Oh my God, yeah, for sure. He was definitely on something. He talks about the fifth dimension, now and to this day. So
that's what acid does to you.
I can imagine. So yeah, everybody, we ran about an hour and a half, a little longer than we planned, but I had fun today. We covered a lot of topics. Hashtag WLM just for today. We are celebrating
Women's
white
lives
excellence.
matter.
Women's lives matter.
I didn't say anything.
I didn't. We just said hashtag WLM. I don't know what that means. You interpret it the way that you want to interpret it. If you haven't checked out the Be Water documentary, 30 for 30 on ESPN, I highly suggest it for this. If you have nothing to watch, there's no live TV on. All the shows are not canceled, but on break. Be Water with the Bruce Lee documentary. I watched it today. We can talk about it on the happy hour at 5. Everybody join us. Friday, 5 p.m. happy hour. Everybody is welcome. I will drop the Zoom link. It's a good time. It's a loose version of this show. We don't have to talk about sports, guys. Some homework. What did we do last week? We ranked the top 3 Mark Wahlberg movies.
Yeah.
Okay. This week, your homework. We are going to rank the top 3 family sitcoms. All right. I want everybody who comes in, give me your top 3 family sitcoms. Okay. That means
not about presidents, Mike. Not about presidents.
No cartoons.
Ronald Reagan, he was an actor.
No cartoons. I want there has to be we'll talk, Mike. We'll talk to Mike off air. Everybody, hey, thank you for joining us. Stuff about sports. Give us a shot network. We got Push the Agenda, Bases Loaded, Mike Time Steve, Smart Out Club, a menu list of items for you to choose from. We will see you Friday and we will see you Tuesday. Good night. Sport.